Welcome to The Explainer. So, if you grew up watching Saturday morning cartoons or reading classic children's books, you might think you have a pretty good handle on the animal kingdom. But what if I told you that popular media has completely lied to us about some of the most famous creatures on Earth? Today, we are going to tear down the fiction and look at the bizarre, astonishing, and sometimes slightly terrifying biological realities of the natural world.
Okay, let's dive right in and look at our safari map for today. We've got a packed agenda, uncovering the truth about bears, debunking elephant myths, looking at the misunderstood wolf pack, exploring some aquatic astonishments, and finally, diving into the secret life of insects. All right, Section 1, the truth about bears. It's time to unlearn some of that cartoon bear logic.
Let's challenge a classic childhood trope right off the bat. Do bears actually love honey? You know the image, right? A friendly, chubby bear carrying a little clay pot of sweetness. But think about it. What is a massive bear actually looking for when it bravely raids a buzzing beehive?
Well, get ready for this. They aren't actually after the honey. They want the bee larvae. Seriously, the honey is basically just a sweet byproduct of them munching on the protein-rich larvae inside. In fact, if you somehow separated the honey from the hive, a bear is going to choose the hive and the larvae over the honey every single time. And when it comes to their overall diet, they'd much rather feast on fruits, nuts, and meat than pure honey.
Now, understanding how these giants actually operate is absolutely crucial, especially if you ever cross paths with one. First off, bears are not aggressive by nature. They really prefer not to fight unless they're threatened or, babysitting their cubs. And because of their sheer size, we tend to think they're slow. Nope, they can run as fast as a horse. So running away, literally the worst thing you can do because it instantly triggers their hunting instinct. Instead, if you encounter a bear, follow these exact steps. Stay completely still, stretch your arms out to look bigger, and just slowly move backwards.
Let's fire off a few more quick truths to really shatter those misconceptions. Did you know black bears aren't always black? They can actually be brown, blonde, or even bluish. And if you think climbing a tree is a good escape plan, scratch that. It's a terrible idea. Bears can easily climb trees. In fact, American black bear mothers literally teach their cubs to climb trees to escape danger, so they've been practicing since childhood. Making loud noises or hiding behind a campfire, that won't necessarily save you either. They've been known to attack the source of loud noises and will literally steal food right out of a fireplace. Oh, and playing dead? That fails about half the time. And yes, for the record, they can easily run uphill, downhill, and they can jump.
And finally, for the bears, let's talk about torpor. We all grew up thinking bears hibernate in a deep, dead sleep all winter, right? Well, that's actually a lie. They enter a state called torpor. This is a state of decreased physiological activity, sure, but unlike true hibernation, they can wake up pretty easily if they need to. Get this, female bears can even give birth and care for their newborn cubs while in this state. It's wild.
Moving on to Section 2, Elephant Myths Debunked. Time to tackle some giant misconceptions. Let's start with the idea that elephants are the only animals that can't jump. Totally false. Hippos, rhinos, sloths, and porcupines can't jump either. Now, when we picture an elephant, the trunk and those massive tusks are definitely the defining features. But it brings up a fascinating question. Are tusks actually just giant horns?
We might assume they're horns, but nope. They are actually ever-growing incisor teeth. It's like a giant dental feature. And they aren't even universal. Some elephants have tiny tusks, and some are born completely without them. While we're looking at elephant anatomy, how about that famous trunk? They don't use it like a giant straw to drink water directly into their stomachs. They just suck water into the trunk to transport it and then squirt it into their mouths to actually drink. Oh, and contrary to every circus cartoon you've ever watched, their favorite food isn't peanuts. They prefer leaves, roots, or even entire trees. A peanut just isn't worth their time. Also, they do have incredible memories, but the saying that an elephant never forgets is just a myth. They forget things just like we do. Which brings us to a somewhat sobering reality. So-called domestic elephants are actually just tamed wild animals with broken spirits. There is literally no such thing as a truly domestic elephant. Even the offspring of tamed elephants are wild at heart. The whole taming process involves completely breaking their spirit just so humans can ride them. And the heartbreaking part is, carrying those heavy loads actually breaks their backs. Almost all elephants forced to carry loads will suffer from severe spinal problems later in life. All right, on to Section 3, the misunderstood wolf pack. We are going to rebrand the big bad wolf and look at the true ancestors of our domestic dogs.
Let's completely dismantle that toxic pop culture alpha male trope right now. We're always told wolf packs are led by these ruthless, dominant rulers. But in reality, they are just simple, nuclear families. A pack isn't some random street gang of wolves. It's a family unit. And most of the time, both the father and the mother lead the pack together as a team. Wolves are also incredibly misunderstood when it comes to aggression. They almost never attack humans. If they spot you, they're probably just going to run away, unless they're cornered or sick. Plus, they aren't even strict carnivores. They'll happily snack on berries, apples, and grapes if they find them.
Because look, life in the wild is really tough, even for apex predators. When hunting large prey, like a massive elk, wolves actually get injured a staggering 80% of the time. So yeah, they are far from the invincible killing machines that movies make them out to be. Okay, let's plunge into Section 4, Aquatic Astonishments. Get ready for some fishy tails and starfish eyes, because we're about to shatter everything you think you know about common household pets and strange beach creatures.
I want you to really think about this number, 43. Believe it or not, that is the age in years of the oldest known goldfish. That completely destroys the myth that goldfish only live for a couple of years. Given the right care, they regularly live for around 20 years. It also busts the whole 3-second memory joke. Goldfish can actually recognize their owners, they can solve mazes, and scientists believe their memories last for at least 6 months. Also, please never believe the saying that a goldfish only grows to the size of its tank. They are not bonsai trees. They can grow over a foot long. Constricting them in a tiny little bowl doesn't stunt their growth, it just kills them before they have the chance to grow big.
Now, let's head from the freshwater to the ocean. I've got a seriously bizarre question for you about starfish anatomy. How many eyes does a starfish actually have? Keep in mind, these amazing little creatures aren't even fish at all. And while we always picture them as perfect 5-pointed stars, they can actually be pentagon-shaped with absolutely no arms, or they can have dozens of them.
While far from being blind, aimless swimmers, starfish actually walk, and they have an eye on the end of every single arm. No kidding. They don't use their arms for paddling. They walk across the ocean floor using hundreds of tiny, tube-like threads underneath their bodies. And as for their vision, if a starfish has 50 arms, it literally has 50 eyes.
Now check out this massive number, 2,000. That's the estimated number of starfish species globally. There's a common rumor that all starfish are highly poisonous or venomous. Out of those 2,000 species, only a couple are actually toxic to humans. But here's the twist. The reverse is incredibly true. We humans are highly toxic to them. The natural oils and chemicals on our skin can severely harm them. So if you see one at the beach, definitely look, but please do not touch.
All right, we've made it to our final stop, Section 5, The Secret Life of Insects. We're going to look at blood-drinking butterflies and uncover the real truth about the most hated bug on Earth.
Let's just lean right into the sheer absurdity of a butterfly's real diet. We all think these beautiful, delicate little insects just flutter around sipping sweet flower nectar, right? Well, their actual diet includes urine, dung juice, decomposing matter, and yes, blood. Sometimes they act just like mosquitoes, just without the stinging. Oh, and another quick myth to bust while we're at it. Gently catching a butterfly by its wings will not instantly kill it. While it's true that their tiny scales will stick to your fingers, they lose those scales naturally all the time just by flying. As long as you don't actually break the wing, the butterfly is totally fine.
Which brings us to arguably the most hated insect on the entire planet, the mosquito. But we really have to ask, do all mosquitoes actually want to bite you? This perfectly sets up our final massive misconception about how these pests feed and breed.
So, here's the absolute truth. Only pregnant females bite. Male mosquitoes, they never bite you. In fact, most adult mosquitoes live quite happily off of plant sap, fruit juice, and nectar. It's only when a female gets pregnant that she desperately needs the protein from blood to develop her eggs. Plus, they choose their targets based on specific clues, like skin bacteria, carbon dioxide, and body chemicals, which is exactly why people with type O blood who release stronger chemical signals tend to attract them way more. And if you think emptying out large bodies of dirty water in your yard will completely save you, think again. Some species, like the ones that carry dengue fever, prefer to lay their eggs in clean water. Some even lay eggs on solid ground right by the water's edge, and they only need a tiny, tiny amount of water, literally just a bottle cap full, to lay their egg.
So, we wrap up today's explainer with this thought.
Is the real animal kingdom actually wilder than the fiction we've invented? I mean, from bears hunting for bee larvae, to walking starfish covered in eyes, to beautiful butterflies drinking blood, the reality of biology is far weirder, much more complex, and wonderfully stranger than any cartoon could ever capture. I really hope this explainer has left you hungry to uncover even more biological truths. Keep questioning what you think you know, and stay curious.